Are you watching this video right now to avoid doing something else? Is there a task, a project, or a dream that has been sitting on your to-do list for weeks, months, or even years? Why do we stay frozen even when we know what we need to do? Why is it so easy to scroll through social media for hours, but so hard to sit down and focus for just 30 minutes? If you feel frustrated with your own lack of action, you are not alone. My name is Elena. Like you, I have spent many years struggling with the invisible walls of my own mind. I have sat in the quiet of my room, looking at a blank page, feeling the heavy weight of not being ready. I am a guide on this channel, but I am also a companion on this journey of self-discovery. Today, we are going to look deeply into the mystery of procrastination and find the path to finally start doing. To understand why we wait, we must look at the powerful ideas in the book The War of Art by Steven Pressfield. Pressfield identifies a force he calls resistance. Resistance is that invisible, heavy feeling in your chest that appears whenever you try to grow or do something meaningful. He famously wrote, "The more important a call or action is to our soul's evolution, the more resistance we will feel toward pursuing it. This means your procrastination isn't laziness. It is actually a sign that what you are trying to do matters." Let us explore 5 lessons to overcome this force and move from waiting to doing. Lesson 1. Identify the enemy. Imagine it is a rainy Sunday evening. You promised yourself you would study English or organize your finances, but instead, you find yourself watching random videos or cleaning your room for the 3rd time today. You feel a strange pressure, a quiet voice telling you, "I'll do it tomorrow. I'm not in the right mood today." This pressure is resistance. It is a force that exists within all of us. Resistance has no strength of its own. It feeds on our fear. The first step to freedom is to stop calling yourself lazy and start calling the problem by its real name. Resistance is like a magnetic force that repels us from our work. It is insidious, a word we use to describe something that spreads gradually and harmfully without being noticed at first. It is the master of excuses. It will use your health, your fatigue, or even your family obligations to stop you from doing your soul's work. Resistance knows exactly where you are weak. If you are tired, it tells you to sleep. If you are hungry, it tells you to eat. But once you recognize that resistance is a natural part of any creative or productive process, it loses its power. Think of resistance as a shadow. A shadow only exists when there is light. If you feel great resistance, it means there is a great light, a great potential within you. We must learn to say, "I feel resistance right now," and that is a good sign. It means this task is important. I will work anyway. When we identify the enemy, we stop fighting ourselves and start fighting the force that holds us back. You are not the problem. Resistance is the problem. Lesson 2. Defeat perfectionism. Many of us procrastinate because we are afraid of doing a bad job. We think, if I can't do it perfectly, I shouldn't do it at all. This is a trap. Resistance loves perfectionism because it keeps us paralyzed. Think about someone who wants to start a new project, perhaps learning a difficult language or writing a book. They spend months researching the best methods, the perfect apps, or the most expensive equipment, but they never actually practice a single sentence. They are waiting for a perfect moment that will never come. Pressfield teaches us that we must turn pro. A professional knows that the work will be messy at first. A professional does not wait for the perfect conditions. They show up and do the work regardless of how they feel. They understand that done is better than perfect. We must give ourselves permission to be beginners. In English, we call this embracing the grind, which means accepting the hard, repetitive, and often unglamorous work required to reach a goal. Perfectionism is just another mask for fear, the fear of being judged, the fear of failure, or the fear of discovering that our best isn't good enough. But the truth is, excellence comes from a pile of mistakes. You cannot refine a thought that hasn't been written. You cannot improve a skill that hasn't been practiced. By lowering your expectations of the result, you make it much easier to start the process. Remember, a bad draft can be edited, but a blank page cannot. Give yourself the grace to be imperfect today, so you can be better tomorrow. Lesson 3. The power of the 5-minute start. Resistance is strongest right before we begin. Once we are actually doing the work, the fear often disappears. To beat this, we use a simple rule. Commit to only 5 minutes. Tell yourself, I will just open my book and read 1 paragraph. Or, I will just sit at my desk for 5 minutes. Usually, once you start, you will find the momentum to continue. This helps us overcome inertia, which is the tendency of an object to stay still unless a force moves it. In our lives, the most difficult part of any task is moving from a state of rest to a state of motion. Your brain sees a huge project and feels overwhelmed. It screams, "This is too big. Let's go watch TV instead." By focusing only on the first 5 minutes, you trick your brain. You reduce the entry barrier. You aren't committing to an 8-hour study session. You are committing to 5 minutes of presence. This technique is powerful because it focuses on the now. When the goal is small, resistance has nothing to latch onto. Often, those 5 minutes turn into an hour of deep focus because the hardest part, the starting, is already behind you. The moment you pick up the pen, the ghost of resistance starts to fade. You prove to yourself that you are stronger than your excuses. One small action is worth more than 1,000 great intentions. Lesson 4. Create a sacred space. Resistance thrives in chaos and distraction. If you try to work in a place where your phone is buzzing and people are talking, you are giving resistance an easy victory. We need to create a sanctuary, a quiet and dedicated space where our inner voice can be heard. Think about your environment right now. Is your desk cluttered with things that remind you of other chores? Are there too many tabs open on your browser, each one a different way to escape the present moment? To stop waiting, we must build a routine that signals to our brain that it is time to work. It doesn't have to be a fancy office. Thoreau had his simple cabin. You might just have a specific corner of a room, a special chair, or even a pair of noise-canceling headphones. When you enter this space, you must shut out the noise. This means the physical noise of the world and the digital noise of the internet. When you respect your space, you begin to respect your work. The sanctuary becomes a place where your professional self takes over. In this space, you are not a procrastinator, you are a creator. By keeping this space clean and focused, you remove the friction that resistance uses to slow you down. Make it a ritual. Perhaps you light a candle or put on a specific playlist. These small signals tell your mind, the world can wait. Right now, it is time for us to be together. Lesson 5. Act before you feel ready. This is the ultimate secret to overcoming procrastination. We often wait for inspiration or a feeling of confidence before we act. We think we need to feel motivated to start. But the truth is the opposite. Action creates motivation. Pressfield explains that the muse, the source of inspiration, only visits those who show up for work every day, regardless of how they feel. Imagine a runner. They don't wait until they feel fast to start running. They start running, and then they feel fast. Motivation is a reward, not a requirement. We must learn to be diligent, which means showing steady and earnest effort. Do not wait for the sun to shine or for your mood to be perfect. Start in the dark. Start while you are tired. Start while you are afraid. If you wait until you feel ready, you will be waiting for the rest of your life. Confidence is built on the battlefield of action. Each time you start a task without feeling like it, you earn a piece of self-respect. You move from being an amateur who works only when they feel inspired to a professional who works because it is who they are. Acting before you are ready is an act of faith. It is a declaration that your purpose is more important than your comfort. When you take that first step in the dark, you discover that the path illuminates itself. The war within. As we reflect on these 5 lessons, we see that procrastination is not a character flaw. It is a battle between your soul's desire to grow and your ego's fear of change. Every time you choose to sit down and do your work, you are winning a small war. You are telling your inner voice that its dreams are important. You are choosing the professional path over the amateur path. The weight of procrastination is far heavier than the weight of the work itself. When we avoid a task, it sits in the back of our minds, draining our energy and making us feel guilty. But the moment we begin, the weight lifts. There is a profound peace that comes with doing what you know you must do. It is the peace of being in alignment with your true self. I know how hard it is to face the resistance. I have spent hours staring at a wall, wondering if I have anything valuable to say. But I have also learned that the only way out is through. I have found that the joy of finishing is a quiet, steady happiness that no social media app can ever provide. It is the joy of knowing you didn't give up on yourself. The road ahead. Let us recap the journey we have taken today. First, we identified the enemy as resistance. Second, we let go of the need for perfection and chose to turn pro. Third, we used the power of the 5-minute start to break the cycle of inertia. Fourth, we created a sacred space to protect our focus. And finally, we learned the most important lesson of all: to act even when we do not feel ready. The path from waiting to doing is a quiet one. It doesn't require a loud announcement or a grand gesture. It only requires a small, steady action. Do not worry about the mountain you have to climb. Do not look at the top. Just look at the very next step in front of you. The silence of your work is much more rewarding than the noise of your excuses. You have the power within you to defeat resistance. You have the ability to turn your someday into today. Trust the process, trust your effort, and most importantly, trust the quiet, persistent strength of your inner voice. If these steps resonate with you, I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments. Which step will you try today? What is the one thing you have been avoiding that you will give 5 minutes to right now? Remember, We are a community of growth, and your journey inspires others. Subscribe to Inner Voice English for more calm guides, deep reflections, and peaceful English listening every week. I am Elena, and I will be here to walk this path with you. Stay peaceful, stay focused, and most importantly, start doing.